Hey there, welcome. Most people think that RVing is a hobby, and it can be, right? But today we're going to talk about how adding hobbies to your RV lifestyle already can add value. And so we're going to talk about a bunch of those things today. So stay tuned.
Right. Hey, welcome to the RV Living Show. We're Brian and Luann Street of Where the Streets Wander. That's an RV website that offers education, inspiration, and encouragement for the RV life.
Yeah, so welcome everyone. Everyone who's watching live or on the replay, we just want you to know that we are super excited you decided to join us today. So we're going to be talking about something that we've been thinking about for a while and actually adding to our own life, and that is RVing hobbies. Do you need one? So if you already have an RV and you camp a lot, maybe that's your hobby.
RVing is a hobby.
It is a hobby. Yeah. But when you do it a lot, or you end up going to the same places over and over again, sometimes you need something to just spice it up a little bit.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talk about that because, like we talk about hobbies, is that your sightseeing or your RVing, you need to break it up a little bit.
Sure. So we want to talk about why have an RV hobby. So there's a couple reasons. The first one is hobbies are a great way to add value to your RV life. So as we said before, and Brian just said about, that RVing is a hobby, but we're talking about ways that you can add value to that experience.
Yes, absolutely.
So there's a couple things that we think hobbies add to your life and that help you do things. So this is the first one.
Help you travel plan. When we first started RVing and trying to figure out where all these places to go, when we started looking at things that interest us and we wanted to go do them, like our bike riding, for instance, it really opened up a lot of opportunities for travel planning.
It did. And then the second reason that you might want to have hobbies in your RV life is?
Taking a break. I just mentioned taking a break from sightseeing because, we love to sightsee, but doing it every day, day in and day out, you kind of need a break from that.
Yeah. I mean, even if you don't full time, constantly being and going to a place where you're always being a tourist isn't always something you want to do. It can get old. You can get tired. You can and even get bored with seeing new things all the time. So it's kind of an oxymoron. So the other thing or another reason that you should have an RV hobby can be this reason.
Stay fit. We talk about one hobby we did here in a minute, but we love this part of it because it gets us moving again. Instead of sitting around or driving around in a car all day, this actually gets us out and doing things.
Well, and I found that a lot of my hobbies kept me in a chair, and we'll talk about some of those indoor hobbies later. And so we wanted to add some things to our lives that didn't have us sitting in the RV or just outside the RV or always just sitting in a chair.
That's right.
So
move around.
Yeah. So when you travel in your RV, it opens up a world of possibilities for you, right? Because like we said, yes, it helps really you travel plan.
There's so many things you can do. Let's go start talking about the list.
Well, the things that you used to dream of doing maybe in your sticks and bricks life, but you're too busy. You can't fit it in your schedule, or maybe you don't live close to the thing that you want to have your hobby for. RVing helps you take your vacation home or your home with you, and you end up at a place where you can actually engage in that kind of hobby. And so let's talk about some of the outdoor hobbies first.
You just own something there about when we lived in our house before, we had hobbies, but they were just something we could do when we fill in some time.
Right.
But now when we RV, we can do hobbies whenever we want to do them.
So one of the first hobbies that we added was biking, but that is one of the things we couldn't do in our sticks and bricks life. Tell them why.
Well, I mean, we lived in North Carolina in the mountain part, and it was a lot of hills, and it was really no flat surface to get us back riding again.
And the key is we weren't avid bike riders, so
we hadn't rode bikes for years, so that kind of prevented us from actually even trying some part.
Yeah, the mindset of even starting. So that whole thing of we didn't do it in our Sticks and Bricks life. So now when we're out RVing, we try to ride our bikes all the time. And it's opened up new possibilities for us.
It has really, is because like now we found that we really love rail to trails.
Yeah, we don't road bike. We do rail to trails. And those are, the rail to trails thing is they've taken old railroad beds and converted them to riding paths. So you're not on the road, or at least not on the road very often. Sometimes you have to cross roads and things when it takes you over places. But for the most part, you're off the road, you're in scenic areas, you can go through little towns. It's really a cool experience.
Yeah, we love the little towns you go through, and then actually we've been on a lot of nice trails.
We have been, and they're super great. They're pretty easy access. They're mostly flat, and I flat with some rolling, but not any steep inclines or steep descensions. And so it makes it easier for people who want to get back in the habit of riding their bikes and then learn to go longer distances. You can actually do that on a rail to trail.
Yeah, I was thinking also greenways. A lot of cities have greenways and stuff that we've enjoyed riding in.
So we use the app on our phone called Rail Trail to find all of these things. The Rail to Trails app includes the greenways. They don't necessarily have to have the specific rail to trails, but it includes a lot of them, and you can just hit your location button, find out where you are, and all the trails pop up around you and you can go ride one.
Yeah, very, very nice.
So the next hobby that we added to our life, our RV life, was kayaking.
Yes, we never kayaked before.
We didn't.
But when we got out and coming to all these nice campgrounds and seeing all these lakes and stuff, we just wanted a chance to get out there. So what we ended is we bought us an inflatable kayak that we can easily carry in the belly of our RV. I think it's a 𝐒𝐢𝐠𝐳, as a matter of fact.
Mm-hmm. And the link is above this video.
And we can blow this thing up, and we can put it in the creeks and the rivers and lakes, and it's a great way to get out and just spend the day or even a few hours.
Yes, it's something that I almost was afraid of when we started doing it, because I didn't want to get dumped over. The biggest thing to me was stability. And so I was hesitant to even try it. But now I love kayaking. In fact, I love it more than him trying to get us to go sometimes. Well, I think it's more work because he's the one that inflates the kayak. So
definitely more.
So, but there's just a different experience of seeing your location from the water and the peacefulness that happens when you're out there. So
that's right.
So the last one, and we're not done adding to our cadre of hobbies. In fact, we have some in the back of our mind that we want to do. But the last one we want to talk about that's specific to us is our newfound hobby that we found about 2 months ago, and it's called pickleball.
Yes, she always wanted to try pickleball, and I was a little hesitant. But we were in northern Georgia, and we found this nice pickleball court, and they was offering beginner lessons. So let's go try it. So we found out we both really love doing pickleball. Yeah.
So if you don't know what pickleball is, imagine it's a badminton court, the size of the court. It is you use paddles like ping pong, but they're bigger. And you can play singles or doubles, but it's done with like a wiffle ball. And so it's like this mixed up version of badminton, tennis, and ping pong all in one. And it's a lot of fun. And we are really getting a lot of exercise out of it.
Yeah, I think it's growing in popularity too.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. But that's also something else that we wouldn't have done in our Sticks and Bricks life. We didn't know about pickleball. It wasn't a thing in our area until we've gotten to know it and find it from the road.
That's right. It's a great fun.
Yes, there are some awesome pickleball courts in Williamsburg, Virginia, and in Hiawassee, Georgia. And that's where we've been learning to do things and go play. So yeah, so those are the 3 things that we've done. So we really want to encourage you today to find out something that you want to add new to your RV life. whether it's an indoor or an outdoor, and we're going to be talking more about that in a minute, but we encourage you to step out of your comfort zone, find something new, and try it. You never know, just like the kayaking.
That's right.
You never know whether you're going to like it or not. So a lot of times you can get stuck in your hobbies and you don't branch out. And so take this as a kind of not a dare, but an encouragement to go find that thing that you want to try next. And we would love to hear about it. We would love for you to email us or post below this video. Let us know either the hobbies that you already enjoy or something. Take the challenge today and pick something new and give it a shot.
Yeah. And also tell us what your favorite hobby is now.
That's right. Mm-hmm. So let's talk some more about outdoor hobbies. We talked about the 3 that we do. So some of the other hobbies are...
well, you got fishing. There's a lot of great places to fish and fishing and hunting, but the problem with that is the license. Each state requires you to have their fishing license or hunting license. That can, if you're really avid fisherman, you want to get out there, you could actually probably get the license and do it, but you'd really want to stay in that state long enough to make it worth the while, basically.
But if you're a really avid fisherman, you don't mind paying the money because that's what you love to do. Yeah,
like when I was in Alabama down at the coast for the winter, I went ahead and got the fishing license because I wanted to surf fish and fish from the pier. Mm-hmm. But we were going to be there long enough for me to feel like spending the money wasn't a problem.
Right. So the other outdoor hobby that you could create for yourself is bird watching. So get one of those great Audubon books and there's birding trails everywhere. We've RV'd a lot of places and there's birding trails that are signified birding trails. And so you could take your book and you could go bird watching and learn about birds and their habitats and which kinds they are and what their calls are. And I have a friend who loves birds. And so I can just call her and go, hey, this bird was making this noise. And she's like, oh yeah, it's the red-crested people-poo-poo. So it's like, and I'm like, see, I know nothing about birds. And so I know what an owl is, and I know that they're birds, but that's it. So that could be a cool hobby that you might want to pick up because your RV takes you different places to find them.
That's right. Another thing you could add to that would be really good to be photography.
Yes.
So
that's a great hobby.
Because you could take pictures of those birds.
Yes.
Or even document where you're camping in the campgrounds and different in the places you visit. I think photography is I know a lot of RVs that do this.
Great, yeah. And then as we were making this list, we were super excited to come across one that kind of lit our interest, and this is geocaching. If you don't know what geocaching is, it is you can often find an app on your phone that helps you find geocaches, which are hidden, buried, like, I don't want to say treasure, but I guess kind of like that.
Treasure box.
A treasure box of something or an item or at least a location. And your app kind of tells you where to go and find it, and you have to go find it, and then you can mark that you found it. So it's kind of like a challenge, kind of like a hunting thing. And if you're super serious about it, you can find ones where they've actually buried boxes and you open them and you sign the little registry that you've been there, and you can return like a token because they have geocaching tokens, and you could trade one of yours for one that's in the box, and it becomes like this really cool hobby to have.
Yeah, it looks like we even took our grandkids on one of those.
That was a long time ago, and that was before we were RVing. And so when we saw this on the list again, we were like, oh,
you do that.
That's a cool thing. And we're in so many different places that we could try that. Mm-hmm. So a couple more could be snorkeling, because if you RV near water, snorkeling, right?
Yes, absolutely. It's funny that we spent so much time living in Florida that we didn't do these type of things. And now we're like, oh, maybe we could go snorkel. And I had gone to Aruba last year with a girlfriend, and all the people in the boat had those full face snorkel masks, which make it so much nicer to snorkel. So that has been something that we've thought about doing, also adding that. So when it comes to snow, you could ski, snowboard,
do any of those snow activities,
All
take
the
your
winter
RV there,
sports.
all the winter sports, that could be a hobby. Another one that's easy to do, and you could do it most anywhere, would be flying your kite.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting when we were, I'm trying to think where we were.
Outer Banks.
Outer Banks, and even down in Texas.
Oh, Texas, yes.
Both these places, out on the beach, those people are flying kites all day long. And a lot of them had all these little crazy designs and big kites. It was very interesting.
Yes, so that could be a hobby for you.
Yeah.
The last one on our outdoor list is stargazing. So tell them about what we do.
Well,
or try to do.
We try to do. We want to get more involved in stargazing. It's something we're learning. We bought a telescope. Now, I'm not quite sure how to use it yet, but we're going to learn it.
Yeah, that's right.
But the nice thing about stargazing is a lot of places you can go, or I guess they call them
dark parks,
whatever. And even a lot of RV parks even say on their website, this is a great place, you know, if you like stargazing and stuff like that. So this is something that once we get this telescope nailed down, we're going to do it.
That's right. We'll let you know when we get it nailed down. Maybe you guys could give us some tips.
Maybe I need some instructions on it.
So let's go to indoor hobbies for a second. Indoor hobbies are ones that you, of course, can do inside your RV or even just outside your RV. Sometimes you can set up out there. And the one in particular that comes to mind, especially for women when they are going to go in their RV for an extended period of time, is some sort of handcraft, whether it's knitting, quilting, sewing, beading, any of those things. Usually those are small enough to take with you in your RV and they don't have a big space requirement. I think quilting and sewing on a machine would probably be your biggest space requirement. When we decided to go full time, I wanted to make sure that we had enough room for my quilting. And so I had to purge and make room, but I did it, and it's with us. And I quilt every few months. I'll pull it out and quilt for a few days all in a row, or find an RV park that has a really great like rec center that they let you set up your machine at, and you can quilt and spread out. That's always nice, a nice find. So those are some of the indoor hobbies for handicrafts. Then another one could be reading, right? You could totally become a reader if you didn't have time before, or if RVing is an escape for you. You could use that time to become I won't say a better reader, but a more rounded reader. You could set reading goals and read more biographies, or break up your genres between fiction and biographies and murder mysteries, or whatever you like to do. You could add some in there and kind of diversify your reading and make that a hobby for yourself.
Yeah, you do a lot more traveling. Sit there and read.
So, yeah, it's true. It's true. I actually read when we're driving down the road. So, the last one kind of fits together. Well, there's two at the end, they kind of fit together. So back to the photography reference, if you do a lot of photography, or you like to do photography, or you're going to start doing photography, you could actually journal and digitally scrapbook your travels. And that is what I do. I digitally scrapbook everything that we do and turn them into these really great keepsake books, so that we can look back on our journey and see where we've been, and, you know, share it with our family and that kind of thing. I do have a link above or below this video that takes you to how I do this. It's a company called Forever that I do all of my digital scrapbooking, photo keeping, photo printing, storing, everything with. I highly recommend them. You should check them out. And if you have any questions, you can always DM me.
Yeah, this turned out really nice, the things you're doing on that.
And then correlating with that is a hobby of, you know, doing your ancestry. That's a huge thing, especially now with the DNA testing and all that. You know, going back, finding your roots, actually chronicling it on ancestry.com. Possibly using Family Tree Maker. You know, I don't even know if that's a thing anymore. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but you know, all of those things can kind of go along with your scrapbooking and your journaling of your travels. So I think it's really important to have that balance of indoor and outdoor hobbies when you're RVing. So for all those reasons that we said before, they can help you travel plan. Right. And what was the other one, Brian?
Well, one thing is going to, if you sit around a lot, get you out and moving around a little bit.
Yeah, so you can get or stay fit. I know
Right.
that was something, we're not small people anymore. And as we're aging, we're looking for ways to stay more active. I came from a desk job. Brian came more from he was standing up but still not as active as, our health really needs us to be.
We need to move around a little bit.
So that's one of the reasons we decided to really kind of make this balance between the two. And then the other thing is, get a break from that sightseeing. There's only, and I know for those of you who haven't been to every museum, we haven't been to every museum, but take a break from seeing that next museum and enjoy nature in the outdoors, or developing further your chronicling of your family history. I mean, those are all things that really add value to your life.
Yeah, the way we're learning to travel more now is we try to schedule out time to do our hobbies, because we're really finding it really adds so much more to the lifestyle.
It does. It really does. I mean, even though we're still working, okay, so that just a qualifier, we're not retired, so we still work in these hobbies into our life. But because we're in different destinations, we're able to take advantage of these hobbies in a different way that we never thought we could.
That's right.
So we encourage you to get a hobby. Get a hobby. Let us know what it's going to be. I'm going to check our comments now, and see who's with us. See if anybody said anything. Great ideas. Can't wait to get out there. Oh, Joanne, so glad that you were able to join us today. And thank you for appreciating our ideas. We're super excited to, inspire others to do things, and as we love to be inspired ourselves. So, well, great. All right. Well, guys, we so enjoy you being with us today.
Yeah. One last thing, if you're out there and you've come across an RV park that has a great pickleball court, let us know.
Let us know. That's right. That's our thing now. So, and we'd love to play pickleball with you one day. So reach out and let us know if you're one of those people. So, next week on the RV Living Show, we actually don't have a topic picked for next week yet. So this is your chance to put in the comments what you'd like us to talk about next week. What are your most burning questions about RVing or travel planning? And let us talk about it next week. We would love the chance for you to have some input on that. So post them in the comments below, and come back next week to be completely surprised as to what we have to offer you.
We'll find something.
We'll find something. We always do. All right, guys. Well, you have a great week, and we'll see you next week on YouTube, Facebook, or in our Facebook group, Stop Wondering and Start Wandering. And we look forward to seeing you at 2 p.m. Eastern time, same place. See you then. Bye.